If getting your products into boutiques has been on your list for some time, then this is your sign. The Retail Ready Wholesale Challenge is a 5-day private podcast experience that walks you through exactly how to find the right retailers, write a pitch that gets replies, and follow up like a pro. It's only 20 minutes a day, $25, and by day 3, you'll have real pitches in real retailer inboxes. One wholesale account more than pays for this challenge many times over. Go to retailreadychallenge.com or the link in the show notes to grab your spot. Okay, time to get a little bit honest. Have you ever looked at your own pricing and you feel just like a little knot of guilt, and then you quietly talked yourself down? Like, charging what you're worth or what your product's worth means you think too much of yourself or your skill or your craft. And you are not alone. And today we're going to be dragging that guilt into the light. This is part 2 of my conversation with Jan Touchberry, and we are getting specific about all things pricing. We're talking about cost versus worth, why women undercharge, the ROI that your buyer actually gets and how to calculate that, and why discounting makes you the Dollar Tree of your industry. And if you missed part 1 on scarcity, go back and catch that episode from last week. And welcome to She Sells Differently. Hi, friends. Welcome to She Sells Differently, the show for aspiring women entrepreneurs looking to overcome the fear of selling and grow thriving businesses from a place of authenticity and confidence. I'm Andy Hart, and it wasn't all that long ago that I was a sales executive for a Fortune 500 company. But I knew in my heart that I was called to use my gifts for something more, something different. That's exactly why I created the She Sells Differently podcast. Each episode is going to deliver you business strategies, tools, and mindset shifts to help set you and your brand apart from our culture's expectations. It's time to elevate your sales and build a profitable, sustainable business you're proud of, one built on integrity, grace, and humility. It's time to learn how to sell differently.
So we're continuing a conversation that we had last week. And if you didn't hear that, you might want to go back and listen, because there's a lot of little truth bombs and nuggets that you're going to glean out of this. But today we're going to talk mostly about pricing as entrepreneurs. I think that is such an area of struggle for people. I hear it all the time. And personally, I deal with it a lot because I feel guilty. I think guilt is a real thing when you're talking about pricing. I think it's the fear of thinking too much of yourself. Like, am I really worth this? And it's just a struggle. So I'm really anxious to hear your take on this, Andy.
Oh, I have so many thoughts. But first off, I want to say this because, and not to overgeneralize this, but I don't know why it is that when I work with my women clients versus my men clients, like, women struggle with this so much more.
Yeah.
And part of that, I think, is our natural, we're caregivers and nurturers. And I see it all the time, just dumb down, for lack of a better word, what our value is, or what the product, I serve product makers, what the product is that they have created. And when I think about that, one scripture that has really come to mind as I think about pricing and charging for what I'm worth is Proverbs 31. And I think in the Christian culture, we have really honed in on that as like a wife of noble character,
Yeah.
But I did a podcast episode not too long ago on the entrepreneurship aspect of Proverbs 31. And
it's mind-blowing.
Absolutely. Yeah. She is creating beautiful products, and she is going out and selling them. And what does she do? Not only is she now able to provide for her family, but she gives to the poor.
Yeah.
And she serves others. And so I think about that in terms of when I am not charging what I'm worth, then I am now not able to use the gifts that the Lord has given me of finances, because let's be real, it's all a gift from Him,
Mhm.
to go do other things that make a kingdom impact.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I
100%
think
agree.
that's just a really great scripture to kind of look at it and have a mindset shift on pricing.
Yeah. So, how do you, when you're talking to your clients and they have a new product that they're getting ready to put out into the world, how do you guide them through the pricing process?
Yeah, so obviously for product makers, it will probably look a little bit different, but I think the premise is still and the concepts are still the same.
Mhm.
So, um, we always start with your cost of goods, but one thing that a lot of people don't think about is the labor and the time and the value. Then the next level of that is, what is the return on investment for the person? And this is especially for coaches and course creators. The return on investment for people that will invest in this. So,
Mm.
is what you're teaching them, or what the service you're providing, or the product you're providing, is it going to save them 10 hours a week? Is it going to generate, X amount of revenue? And calculating
Mm.
that part into the return on investment into your pricing as well.
Oh my
And
goodness, I gotta
so
write that down.
yeah,
So good.
I think there's just there's, several different aspects to it. And so I was actually having a conversation yesterday with a friend of mine from college, and we do some business together. And he said to me, I was talking to him about pricing a product, and he's entrepreneur, like very sharp. And he said, I think you need to back your way into it. And he's the one that really challenged me on the return on investment
Mm.
piece, instead of starting from the ground up. So how
Mhm.
much time is this going to take me?
Yeah.
But if you think about the return on investment for your client, it challenged me to probably raise the price of the product we were talking about by like $1,000, which is
Whoa.
pretty significant.
Okay. I wanna talk about that for a minute
Yeah.
because I know that some people just heard that and they're like, "What?" But that is the price point that a lot of our listeners, I think, are working with
Mhm.
or aspire to be working with. I
Yeah.
know that so I'm struggling with that right now. I know that I'm a brand and website designer, and I know that I am underpricing my product. And I have recently decided that, the Lord is calling me to a different level of
Mhm.
serving clients at a different level, and I can't, I read something the other day, um, that said something to the effect of, why are you pricing your $10,000 product at $2,000? Why do we do that?
Yep.
And I think that goes into this ROI for the buyer. Um, I'm I'm trying to wrap my mind around that. So talk to me a little bit about the process that you went through or your friend helped you understand about the ROI for the buyer and how somebody who's dealing with higher ticket course
Mhm.
content, coaching, things like that,
Yeah.
how they would figure out the ROI for the buyer.
Yeah. So it starts really with knowing the problem that you're solving. And I think sometimes we
Mhm.
talk about these business basics and we skim over them because we hear them all the time. But guess
Right.
what? There's a reason that you hear them all the time. So it's really knowing your target audience and exactly what the transformation is. Because what happens when we're selling, we so often, whether you're selling products or you're selling services or coaching or what have you, we tend to focus on the features and
Mhm.
what they get. And hey, you are going to learn how to implement SEO for your website and blah, blah, blah. Guess what? That doesn't matter to them. What
Right.
matters to them is that because they do that, they're going to get X number of, more visibility to their website and
Right.
convert to how much the sales that they need, right?
Right.
And so that's where I think from even just a sales perspective, we are selling our value completely wrong because we're not selling the value at all. We're just selling the actual deliverable, right?
Mm. Mhm.
So from that perspective, it's so important to have that mindset shift, know what transformation. So I'll give you a very, very real example in my business. One of my core products is a wholesale course. So teaching product makers how to stop going to markets on the weekend, stop the one-off Etsy sales, and
Mm.
to actually think bigger, stop thinking small, but they're to start thinking bigger and getting their products on retail shelves.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we're talking about selling one order that's several $1,000s versus an order that's $10, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is going back to the scarcity mindset we talked about last week, but there's a fear in that. But also, you have to think about, when I sell my course now, it's this is where you're at and this is where you can be when you implement what you're going to learn. And I actually give them an ROI calculator on the sales page because it's so important to see that for the price of this course, this is the return on investment when you put in the work. And so
That's so good.
that's been a game changer since I started talking more from that angle of the actual transformation for their business. Um, Yeah, but it comes down to knowing what that transformation is and what it means to your customer.
Yeah, that I think that is, that's something that we can easily not dive deep enough into.
Mhm.
I feel like we all probably at some point have gone through some sort of exercise about your ideal client avatar and, all of those things. But I think so many times we leave them at the surface or we only have one. And I went
Yeah.
through, I just finished a mastermind that said you cannot just have one client avatar because your clients evolve as well.
So
And so
true.
you need to make sure that you're doing the deep work in order to really know who you're serving and what level you're serving at for each particular area of your business in order to be able to calculate that ROI correctly.
That's so true, and I love that you said that because I actually just went through doing a whole ICA profile for my coaching business, and the output from that was like 15 pages long, but I have
Yeah,
4 different ICA, like target customers, depending on where they're at in the customer journey.
there you
And so
go.
I think that that's important to note. Like, yes, I've been doing this for almost 3 years now, but taking the time once a year just to reevaluate that and make sure that what their desires are and their transformation still aligns with what you're offering and your messaging too. So,
Mhm. And I say your messaging, and I'm, going back into what I do is how you look when people land on your page or find you in all the
100%.
places, right? You commented on my hat when we first started. If you're
Mhm.
just listening to this, I was in Franklin, Tennessee, downtown Franklin. If you've never been there, highly recommend. It's very quaint.
Beautiful. Yes.
And I walked into a little coffee shop and I was going to grab some coffee and sit outside and just work for a little while. And the vibe in this place like immediately drew me in. And they had this swag. And so I picked up a hat and turned it over and looked at the price tag. It was $45. I don't usually spend $45 for a hat, but let me tell you, this hat, and not only the hat, but every single thing in this coffee shop was so spot on brand that I took the hat to the register and I told the guy that was ringing it up, I said, "I want you to tell your owner that I am buying this $45 hat because your branding is so on point and I have such great appreciation for who it puts out into the world as who you are, and I get it, that I wanna be a piece of it, right? I want a
Ah,
piece of it. And
that's the
I
power
get
of
more
branding right
comments.
there.
Yeah, I get more comments on this hat than anything else I've ever purchased.
Wow.
Like, this hat gets so, like, to the point that somebody else who's rebranding said, "Can I take a picture of your hat?"
Wow.
And so when you hit it, that it is, "Ah," right? You hear the angels sing a little bit.
Yes.
And I deal with so many women who have a visual presence that does not match who they serve and how they should be showing up in the world. And I'm here to tell you that it matters. It
Yes.
100% matters, because
Yeah.
when your brand visually matches who you serve and who you're really called to be, the pricing follows that.
Yes.
Then you have permission to charge what you're worth, because you don't
$45
look
for a hat.
like,
Yeah.
right. You don't look like you're selling a $10 hat. You look like you're selling a 45 freaking dollar hat, and people are going to open their wallet and they're going to pay the $45.
It's so interesting too, because primarily working with product makers, I see the exact same thing just on a different level. But you think about
Yeah,
your products are sitting on someone's shelf, and that is your branding and
absolutely.
from your product packaging, everything. And so I think about that so often. I will work with clients and their packaging looks very homemade, and that's because it is. And that is not going to get a retailer want to buy your products and put it on their shelf.
No,
And it's the branding. And you think about it too, whether you're selling a course on a website or you're selling a product on a retailer shelf, that has to do the branding and the sales, the copy has to convert for you because you're not there doing it face to face.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. You
So
got to get it right,
what do you
people.
think?
You got to get it right. And you have to be able to step out of your, back to last week's episode, scarcity mindset, enough to open your wallet to pay people who understand how to get you there. You
Yeah.
have to be able to do that. If you have a big vision, if God has called you to a big vision, then you have to be brave enough
Hmm.
to do what it takes to get there. And sometimes it's really scary. But I think
Yeah.
it's having people around you that can link arms with you and can come behind you when the enemy's, whispering in your ear or sometimes yelling in your ear, "You're not good enough. You're spending too much money. This isn't going to pay off." Whatever, the languages that goes around in your head. That's the
Yeah.
language in my head. But you have people that can see, they are not engulfed in it like you are, but they
Hmm.
know you enough that they can speak life into you and either validate or say, "Hey, maybe you should take a step back." Again, that room, you got to be in the room with the people, and you have to have the relationship with the people, not a lot of
Yes.
people, but a few close collaborators that can speak life over you and over your business when you get into those spaces of questioning and doubting and needing a little bit of help to walk into those scary places.
Yes, for sure. So something that you were alluding to earlier, and it made me think about, especially when we are looking to invest in something, that mindset shift between this is what it costs me and
Mhm.
this is what it's worth. And there's a difference there. And I think it's important to call that out, even from the perspective of how, not just when you're purchasing in that mindset, but how you're pricing your products or your services.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to hear from you. Like, I just see most women price off of like a simple cost, but what do you feel like the difference is between like the mindset of what this costs me and then what this is worth when you're looking to invest in a program?
Mm, that's a really good question. I think you have to be able to, again, future think a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
because when I maybe this is just the way that my brain works. I just by nature, I'm a question asker. I
Mm-hmm.
ask lots of questions, and I am so concrete, um, that I need real. like tangible answers. I know that not everybody does. There are a lot of impulse buyers that are like, "We here, just buy the thing." That's not me. Um, but I will say that when I'm looking at a sizable investment of like a mastermind or a high ticket course or something like that, I really have to think about what is my goal when I'm purchasing something like this, right? Whether it's a course that's going to further my business or a website or a rebrand or whatever that's going to take me to the next level. What's my goal with this?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and do I think that this purchase is going to get me there? Right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think too, one of the things that along those lines, and this is where what stops me from charging more sometimes, because
Mm.
my desire is for my clients to see that transformation and that growth. I know that what I teach absolutely will provide that. But this is what happens in my mind. I feel like I'm responsible for them implementing and
Oh,
the
no.
work that they
Mhm.
have to put in.
Mhm.
I struggle with that a lot.
Mhm.
And so it's like, I know what it's worth, but what if they don't? And I'm like, that's also, there's a level of responsibility that I want to help motivate them.
Sure.
But ultimately, like everyone has to put the action in. And so sometimes I let that, and it's kind of an interesting one, but I let that fear, I think,
Mhm.
hold me back. If that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Well, it's because the people who don't get what they perceive as the ROI that they were expecting from whatever it is that you're selling, they're the ones who have a tendency to yap about it. "Oh, well,
Mm.
I took that course and I didn't see what she was promising." Really? Did you actually do you know? I
Yeah.
just finished this, like I said, this mastermind. It was, to grow my podcast. Highly recommend. Um, and I saw it was a 12-week mastermind, and my podcast listeners doubled,
Wow, that's amazing.
doubled.
Wow.
And I cannot, um, I will honestly say that it is because I did the work. Like, I marked out the time. I
Mhm.
did the thing step by step by step that she was telling me I needed to do. And because I've done things like that, that I've spent thousands of dollars. Like, if
Yeah.
my husband knew how much money I'd spent on all this stuff, I'm just saying, right?
Yeah.
He may be listening to this.
It's all good. If we're a
Um,
podcast.
yeah, right, but I've spent a lot of money on things that I have not followed through on, and it's my own
Yeah.
dang fault that
Yeah.
I don't get the ROI on it. It's not the course creator's fault.
Well, and the funny thing is you were saying, like, sometimes they're the people that are loudest. Knock on wood, I have never had anyone that's been like, "This wasn't worth it," you
Oh, good.
know? And so it's
Good for
funny,
you.
like, I have the proof point. That's all it goes to show it's all in my head. Like, I literally want to, like,
Yeah.
reach out and I want their success so bad that I wanna reach out and do it for them.
Right.
That's overgiving, like we talked about. And so it's like, there's just a level sometimes of that where I'm like, I I realize, and this is probably getting like more personal, but I struggle, and the Lord has been telling me so much, especially in the past year. I'm a control, like I like to be in
Mhm.
control, and
Yeah.
you cannot control others' outcomes. And so
Oh,
I
that's a
see
good
how
quote.
that creeps into my business,
Yeah.
and I have like that people pleasing nature. And so it's
Mhm.
all just kind of enmeshed in one. And that can hinder me from really pricing what I know it's worth. And then to make matters worse, it's when you do that, people don't value what you provide like
Right.
they should.
Yeah.
And it's like a self-fulfilling, it can be a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I wanna go back to this ROI calculator that you have.
Mhm.
Um, is that on your sales page?
Yes, but I don't leave my, wholesale course open. I open it, like, twice a year.
Okay.
Um,
So
so
how
it's
did
not
you
like
do
a
that?
public. Okay, I
Like,
will tell you, little extra pro tip tidbit here. If you have not gotten into vibe coding, and I know it sounds
wait,
very
what?
techie. See, I say that and I'm like, that sounded so nerdy. I don't know how to code, but there are some really amazing. I started the very first ROI calculator I ever made was in Canva with using Canva AI.
No.
It was a game changer. I've made several for clients, but now I have started creating instead of paying money for like lead pages or something
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
I've started creating all of my sales landing pages. I design them first off. I've done the back end work of really, having the copy and
Mhm.
and all that. And I use a lot of AI, I do, but it's from my own input and then I'll, edit that as needed. But then I'll have it generate a prompt for me that I will go and put in, like you may have heard of Lovable or Base 44. Those are all
Yeah.
vibe coding apps. And
Okay.
literally in 5 minutes, I'll have my sales page. It's
Wow.
mind blowing. And then they can integrate, you can tell it to do an ROI calculator based on these things. And
That's
it's so cool.
fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so those things, sorry, this is me nerding out just for a second.
I love it.
So then,
I'm sure there's someone out there that's probably like, oh, wants to hear it.
yeah, yeah.
Hopefully. Maybe.
So, like if you're doing something in Lovable or Base 44, does it stay in that platform or does it give you code to put on your own website?
So that's a great question. You can connect your own domain. So what I have done is I might do like a subdomain. So let's just say, for example, wholesale.andyhart.com. So
Mhm.
it will actually then connect back. You can connect it or have, you know,
Oh,
a call to action button on your website point to that landing page. So yeah, you can
got it.
connect your own custom domains if you have the subscription, which I paid like maybe 300 or something a year for the whole year.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah,
Interesting. Very
very
interesting. I it will be something that I am playing with in Claude, I'm sure, because
yes.
having an ROI calculator and being able to take that code and input it into websites, I think could be very interesting for some of my clients. But are there I'm sure it just asks you prompts. So when you're trying to help it understand how to
Mhm.
calculate that ROI for a client, like tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So first off, I will tell you, like, I don't do my initial like brainstorming within those apps. I do them
Okay, you
like
put on
in a
paper.
Claude or Chat GPT. So
Okay, okay.
yeah, I actually took a course and I don't think it's very expensive. I want to say maybe it's like $20. I'll provide a link to it. Um, but there is a guy named Jonathan Mast who is an AI guru, and I
Mhm.
found him several years ago. And he did a training on how to create landing pages, or it was actually more about websites, but I use it for landing pages. And he provides a custom GPT in there that helps
Okay.
walk you through and ask you all the questions. And then it provides a prompt, like the deliverable from that custom GPT is a prompt that you can go put in Base 44 or in Lovable, or I think there's two more like AI apps that you can use. And then from there, I will tweak it. Like I
Mhm.
will have it, I want to put my logo up here and all that. And what's cool about at least Base 44 that I use is you can have it do all the back-end SEO for you too.
Mm.
So like I have, and I have it install my pixel and my Facebook pixel. I'm really nerding out now, but it's really awesome.
Yeah.
And if you are like, for my audience of product makers, like one of the things that could be really cool is like creating like a quiz, like, hey, what candle scent is right for you?
Yeah.
This makes it so easy now. So yeah,
Yep. That's amazing.
yeah.
So, as we wrap up, since we're kind of pricing centric, what is the best tip that you would give somebody on pricing things correctly for the
I
best
would,
ROI?
yeah, I would say
Mhm.
first off, understand your audience and your value, but this is the best tip I have. Don't be afraid to pivot and make adjustments. So many
Mm.
people feel like they put their price out there and that's what has to be forever. No,
Mhm.
ma'am. The market changes. And so don't be afraid to raise your pricing if you are one of those that maybe you're listening and you're going, I think I'm undercharging. Don't be afraid to evaluate that. And sometimes the best way you can do that is just by surveying your ideal clients and asking, what they're willing to pay for something like this. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Client
What
surveys.
about you? I want to hear yours.
Well, I think that's good. I think in the economy that we're in, and my clientele is basically Christian coaches. It's predominantly women, and in the coaching space or the small business space is who I work with the most. And in my world, I think one of the things that we're running up against is, I think, just the economy has slowed our business down, slowed people down from making larger investments. And so instead of lowering your pricing, add more payment plans, right? Enable them. Don't undervalue what you bring into the world. Just allow them to take longer to pay for it.
Yeah.
And so I think undervaluing doesn't do anybody any good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's such wisdom. Discounting has never worked for me, at least. So yeah. There's so much buyer psychology.
If you start to discount, you become known as the discount queen, right? And you don't want to be Dollar Tree.
Yes, you do not. You do not.
You don't want to be Dollar Tree.
You want to brand yourself differently than that.
Yes, you do. If you want somebody to buy a $45 hat, you can't look like your Dollar Tree or be priced like your Dollar Tree. Just saying.
So, Jan, if you are a She Sells Differently listener, where can they find you?
So my podcast is Marketing Without Socials, and because I'm not on social, you can find me on my website at jantouchberry.com.
Awesome. And I will
What about you?
That in the show notes. I focus on product makers that are looking to wholesale their products. You can find me on andyhart.com, which my name, thank you, Mom and Dad, is spelled a little different, ANDEEHART. And then on the podcast, She Sells Differently as well. So
very good. This has been a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Yes, I loved it. Thanks, Jan. All right, that's a wrap on today's episode of She Sells Differently. Friends, it would be a huge blessing to me if you would take 2 seconds to rate and subscribe to my podcast. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Until then, I'm cheering you on in your entrepreneurial journey. See you next time.